pain. It is about clarity. When you can say, I feel anxious, instead of just, something is wrong, you create direction. When you can whisper, I feel lonely, instead of just numbing the ache, you create a path toward connection. Words don't erase feelings, but they give feelings form. And when feelings have form, you can work with them instead of being lost in them. So let us begin here simply. Pause for a moment. Notice your body. Where is the tension? Where is the warmth? Where is the pull? Now ask yourself, what name fits this? Is it sadness? Is it frustration? Is it fear? Is it calm? Even if you are not sure, choose one word that feels closest. You will notice something powerful. The moment you name the feeling, its chaos softens. It becomes less of a fog, more of a form. This is the foundation of emotional literacy, naming without judgment. Not saying, I shouldn't feel this way. Simply saying, this is what I feel right now. Because clarity is the first step to freedom. And every emotion you name becomes less of a storm and more of a message. Every emotion you feel is carrying a message. Anger says, a boundary has been crossed. Sadness says, something valuable was lost. Fear says, there is danger or uncertainty. Joy says, this is what aligns with who you are. Even shame and guilt carry signals. Shame says, I fear disconnection. I fear I am not enough. Guilt says, my actions do not match my values. When you ignore emotions, you miss the message. But when you pause, listen, and interpret, you learn what your inner world is trying to tell you. Think of emotions like letters delivered to your door. You can tear them up without reading. You can panic at the envelope. Or you can open them, read the message, and decide how to respond. This is the skill of emotional literacy: to notice, to name, to interpret, and then to choose your response. For example, anger does not mean you must explode. It means you must look at your boundaries. Sadness does not mean you must collapse. It means you must honor the loss and allow comfort. Fear does not mean you must freeze forever. It means you must assess, prepare, and then move carefully. Every emotion is a messenger. None are mistakes. When you treat emotions this way, you stop fearing them. You start learning from them. And in that shift, you gain freedom. Because emotions are not dictators. They are guides. They are signals. And once you read their messages, you can act with clarity, instead of reacting from confusion. One of the most common mistakes is confusing what you feel with who you are. You feel anxious, and the mind whispers, I am anxious. You feel lonely. And suddenly it becomes, I am unlovable. You feel sad. And the thought arrives, I am broken. But hear this carefully. Feelings are temporary. They move like weather. Identity is the sky itself. It remains. It holds every passing storm. When you confuse feeling with identity, you make the storm permanent. But when you say, I feel anxious right now, you remember the truth. It is passing through. It is not the whole of you. This is why language matters. Say, I feel, not, I am. I feel angry, not, I am anger. I feel afraid, not, I am fear. This shift creates distance. It reminds you that emotions are guests, not rulers. Guests arrive. Guests stay for a time, and guests leave. Even when emotions feel overwhelming, when they seem endless, they are still moving. And you, the one who notices them, are bigger than any single feeling. So practice this with care. Next time the storm rises, pause, breathe, and remind yourself, this is a feeling, not my identity. In that moment, the storm softens, not because it disappears, but because you remember. You are the sky, not the passing weather. Emotions do not live in isolation. They are shaped by culture. In Japan, we have the word ame, a tender dependence, the comfort of leaning on someone, without fear of rejection. There is no exact English word for this. In Portuguese, there is saudade, a bitter-sweet longing, missing something deeply loved, mixed with gratitude that it existed at all. In German, there is Schadenfreude, the complicated pleasure in seeing someone stumble. Each culture gives names to experiences that might otherwise remain vague. And these names shape how people recognize, allow, and respond to feelings. So, what does this mean for you? It means emotional literacy grows when you expand your vocabulary. Sometimes English offers you only sad, but sadness can mean grief, loneliness, nostalgia, disappointment, emptiness. Each word carries nuance. Each nuance leads to clarity. The more precise your words, the more accurate your self-understanding. So begin collecting words. Borrow from other cultures. Notice the phrases your community uses. Notice the feelings that have no name yet, and describe them in your own way. Because every time you find a word that matches your inner world, you bring light into what was once shadow. And light gives you power, the power to work with emotion, to express it clearly, to invite others to understand. This is the gift of cultural lessons. They remind us that emotions are not weakness. They are human, universal, shared across languages, expressed through many names. And the more names you learn, the more fluent you become in the language of your own heart. Many people believe they must choose between two paths: be logical or be emotional. Logic is praised as strength. Emotion is dismissed as weakness. But this is a false choice. Logic without emotion becomes cold calculation, unable to connect. Emotion without logic becomes chaos, pulled in every direction. Neither extreme sustains a healthy life. Neither extreme sustains a healthy relationship. Balance is where strength lives. Think of logic and emotion as two voices in the same room. Emotion says, "This matters to me." Logic says, "Here is the best way forward." When you silence one voice, you lose clarity. But when you let both speak, you gain wisdom. For example, anger may rise. Emotion tells you a boundary was crossed. Logic helps you decide, how can I address this without harm? Or sadness appears. Emotion tells you, I lost something valuable. Logic helps you ask, how can I honor this loss and still move forward? The integration of logic and emotion is not a tug of war. It is a partnership. And the practice of emotional literacy is learning how to listen to both. So, next time you face a decision, pause. Ask yourself two questions. What do I feel? What do I know? When you hold both answers together, you create direction that is wise, steady, and whole. That is balance. That is strength. That is the integration of mind and heart. Many people believe suppression is control. They push feelings down, lock them away, and tell themselves, if I don't acknowledge this, it cannot hurt me. On the surface, it seems effective. You appear calm. You keep working. You smile when expected. But underneath, the emotion does not vanish. It waits. It gathers weight. It seeks release. Suppression is not control. It is delay. And what is delayed often returns larger, in explosions of anger, in sudden exhaustion, in tears that feel endless, or in the silence of numbness. The illusion is, I am holding it in. The truth is, it is holding me. So how do you prevent suppression from turning against you? You allow safe release. Not every emotion must be shared publicly, but every emotion must be acknowledged somewhere. Write it in a journal. Speak it aloud in a private room. Abba, I feel angry. I feel hurt. I feel tired. Move it through your body. Walk. Stretch. Breathe until the weight softens. Share it with someone safe, a trusted friend, a counselor, a support group. Expression does not mean indulgence. It means honesty. When feelings are expressed, they flow. When they are suppressed, they stagnate. And stagnation poisons the system. So remember this: strength is not the absence of emotion. Strength is the courage to let it move through, without letting it control you. Expression is not weakness. It is the maintenance of inner health. Because what you refuse to feel will find another way to be felt. And what you allow yourself to feel, you set free. Many people live with vague labels. They say, I feel bad. I feel fine. I feel off. But these words are fog. They blur the edges of truth. Bad could mean anxious. It could mean ashamed. It could mean lonely. It could mean tired. When you leave feelings vague, you leave yourself powerless. But when you become precise, when you say, I feel disappointed, I feel rejected, I feel hopeful, I feel relieved. Suddenly the fog clears. The emotion becomes workable. You know what it is. You know what it asks of you. Precision is the beginning of healing. So how do you build vocabulary? Begin with simple lists. Look beyond happy and sad. Add words like content, joyful, peaceful. Add words like grief, despair, emptiness. Notice how each one feels different in the body. Next, borrow from other languages and cultures. Saudade, amai, Sehnsucht. Words that open new windows into feelings you have known, but never named. Finally, practice daily check-ins. Ask yourself, what am I feeling right now? Write down 3 words. At first, the list may feel repetitive, but over time, you will notice nuance. Frustrated is not the same as angry. Lonely is not the same as sad. Hopeful is not the same as happy. The more words you gather, the more fluent you become in the language of your own heart. And fluency matters, because when you can describe your feelings clearly, you can share them clearly. And when you can share them clearly, others can meet you with understanding. So expand your vocabulary, not for decoration, but for freedom. Every word you add is another tool in your healing, another step toward clarity, another way to be fully seen by yourself and by others. Many people try to control emotions before they understand them. They push them down. They distract themselves. They deny. But control without understanding is suppression. And suppression, as we have said, always backfires. Regulation begins with literacy. When you can name the feeling, I feel anxious, I feel angry, I feel hopeful, you give yourself clarity. And clarity makes space for choice. Because once you know what you feel, you can ask, what does this emotion need right now? Each emotion has its own medicine. When anger rises, the body needs release, movement, breath, a safe outlet for energy. When sadness arrives, the heart needs expression, tears, comfort, a reminder of connection. When fear takes hold, the mind needs grounding, slower breath, safe presence, reassurance of stability. When joy appears, it also needs attention, to be savored, celebrated, allowed to expand instead of dismissed. Regulation is not about erasing emotions. It is about guiding them. Think of yourself as a conductor. The orchestra of feelings may play loudly, but with practice, you can bring balance, rhythm, harmony. Try this. Next time you feel overwhelmed, pause. Name the feeling. Ask, what does this need? Then choose one small action. Breathe, stretch, call, write. Over time, this becomes skill. Not instant, but steady. And the skill of regulation turns emotional literacy into emotional freedom. Emotional literacy is not only for yourself. It is also for the bonds you build. Many conflicts in relationships do not come from lack of love. They come from lack of language. One person feels hurt, but says nothing, expecting the other to guess. Another feels angry, but hides it behind silence, leaving distance to grow. Or someone feels anxious, but expresses it only as control, and both partners suffer. Without words, emotions leak out sideways, through blame, through withdrawal, through misunderstanding. But when you share language, you create clarity. I feel overwhelmed right now. I feel lonely even when you are near. I feel hopeful about us. This honesty doesn't always erase conflict, but it builds trust. Because trust is not built on perfection. It is built on being real. So how do you teach others without forcing them? Begin by modeling. Use precise language for yourself. Say, I feel frustrated, not angry. Or, I feel anxious because I need reassurance. This shows others a new way, without demanding it of them. Invite gently. Ask, what are you feeling right now? If they struggle, offer options. Do you feel tired? Do you feel discouraged? Do you feel hopeful? Encourage patience. Not everyone grew up with the same words for emotions. For some, this practice feels foreign. Celebrate progress. Each time someone names their feeling, acknowledge it. Say, thank you for sharing that. Because the goal is not perfect vocabulary. The goal is connection. And when a relationship becomes fluent in feelings, conflict softens, intimacy deepens, and both people grow stronger together. So remember, emotional literacy is not only self-care, it is relational care. It builds bridges. It opens doors. It allows two hearts to understand one another with more clarity, more grace, more truth. We have walked through many truths tonight. that feelings are not enemies, but messengers. That emotions do not define identity. They are weather passing through the sky of self. That suppression backfires, but expression brings release. That language shapes clarity. The more words you gather, the more power you have to understand, to communicate, to heal. And we have seen balance, logic and emotion working together, not in conflict, but in partnership. This is the heart of emotional literacy: to notice, to name, to interpret, to respond. Not with panic, not with silence, but with clarity and care. This is your gift now: the ability to read your inner world with precision, the ability to honor your feelings without being ruled by them. And that gift will carry you forward. Take a slow, steady breath with me. Inhale awareness. Exhale understanding. Hold this truth: you are becoming fluent in the language of your own heart. And fluency leads to freedom. Freedom to speak. Freedom to feel. Freedom to connect. But the journey does not end here. At 10 p.m., Haley James will meet you. Her voice is gentle, calm, and steady. She will walk with you through one of life's hardest endings, breakup recovery. Where I have given you words to understand your emotions, she will give you space to heal from heartbreak, to release, to grieve, to rediscover yourself after love has shifted. So breathe once more. Inhale literacy. Exhale readiness. And step forward from understanding your emotions to healing your heart. In many lives, feelings rise like waves, without names. A tight chest, a restless mind, a heaviness behind the eyes. You know the sensation, but you don't always have the language. And when emotions have no words, they can feel like storms without maps.